with all your ifs and whats and candies
It's not
and
ifs.
buts.
No, yours are ifs and whats.
Well, our relationship, there's nothing that's going to break our relationship up. I mean, maybe other than me questioning Dan Campbell and the Lions. But other than that, I think we're good. Oh, yo, what's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. I am here.
Oh, no. Pete. Come on, Pete. Those are the problems with a remote show.
With all your ifs and whats and candies
It's not
and
ifs.
buts.
No, yours are ifs and whats.
Well, our relationship, there's nothing that's going to break our relationship up. I mean, maybe other than me questioning Dan Campbell and the Lions. But other than that, I think we're good. Yo, 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 mofos. What's up, everybody? It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And yes, that asshole to my right is Ahmed Fareed. How dare he questions me like that? Okay, but we're here. It's Super Bowl. It's Vegas, baby. Me and Ahmed hanging out here. We're at Radio Row. What's up, my
What's
buddy?
happening?
All right, you're all good until we start talking about the Lions again here in the next few minutes. But either way, we are here. We're here for a little AMA action. We got a few cool lists we're going to break out. Ahmed's only here for 24 hours.
Basically.
He's ditching me. But we are going to get a good dinner in tonight later, hang out a little bit. Maybe I'll get a drink in them or something like that, loosen them up a little bit. Let them come to my thinking in the football world and get them back on the right track and get them out of this craziness of this Detroit Lions stuff. But we're here, man. Super Bowl. It's awesome.
That's what we thought. We're like, how do we mend fences here? How do we bring us closer together again? What about a trip to Vegas? 24 hours. You'll be here much longer than that. But yeah, I got to get back and do some Big Ten basketball. But I have never been to a Radio Row before. This is the first time I've ever been at a Super Bowl Radio Row. You can see some of it behind us here. There's like local media. There's national media.
Yep.
It's cool. It's like, because
cool.
you realize how small of a business it is.
Yeah.
Because you walk around, you're like, oh, I recognize that guy. I recognize that guy. And you just
sure.
you haven't met them necessarily,
Right.
but you have so many people coming up to you and be like, hey, we're talking, right? You're coming over and talking. So you're gonna have a lot of work to do after I leave of doing a lot of interviews from the people behind us.
That's usually how it goes. It's good. It's good. Again, this is part of the greatness of our sport. The attention, national media wise, the local stations, all of it. It's why football is king in our country right now. This you're here Monday. I wish you could see it Thursday.
Me too.
Because as we always say, Thursday is insane, and it's one star after another. And as I've been saying, I get the feel that there's just going to be more stars than ever coming to this Super Bowl because it's Vegas and it's the first time here. And of course, it's a big spot. It's Mahomes, right? And the Kansas City Chiefs, the number one show in the sport right now. And it's not like the 49ers are chopped liver. They're easily one of the 5 greatest organizations in the history of the NFL, right? What is it, 19 NFC championship games they've been to? What is this, Super Bowl number 8 for them? Something along those lines. So great history and tradition. Fan bases want to be a part of this on both sides, bandwagoners and everything, right? So they're all going to be here, let alone stars, big ballers. Like I have a few friends, right, who are ballers, not ex-athletes, but have a lot of money, right? Way more money than you and me and everybody combined. And they're having a hard time getting a ticket. And I'm like, you're having a hard time getting a ticket? Like you can get everything. And that's where they're already saying it's the most expensive Super Bowl ticket ever. And I think it's only going to go up because you're going to have some of these guys come in town who are 100 millionaires or whatever and going to go, wait, I lose $1 million a year here gambling and all that. You can't get me a ticket? And then they're going to be like, well, I'm here. Okay, I'll pay $25,000 for that ticket, right?
Yeah,
I think that's where it's going. And that's where it is really cool, and it's cool to be a part of this spectacle.
So you're going to the game, or are you? Right? I mean, if that actually happens, like say
I already got my tickets. So
I know,
I'm good.
but I'm saying.
Oh, right.
I'm like if the offers get good enough.
You're right. My wife read an article about it the other day, or saw something on social media, and she's like, I mean, I won't go to the game for $25,000. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you want to buy your next Birkin bag or something?
And a random person.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know who this is. This is my wife sold this ticket. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And what adds to the craziness for me in my own personal life my dad's doing the game, this pregame show, right, CBS. So I got family out here. And then the 49ers aspect on top of that with, my friends that are the Shanahan's friends, the Shanahan family. We got a lot of buddies that, went to college with that are coming up for the game, right? So there's going to be a lot going on. No rest for the weary this week.
Pete wants to know
what
if you have tickets. Like a seat, or is it like a suite, or like how are you watching the game?
I'm with the people. I'm a man of the people.
You do like to be with the people.
I do. I am.
Until there's too many people, and then you like to not be with the people.
Yeah, you're right. And then it's like, okay, get away from me. But yeah, I'm going to be in the seats, right in the stands. I got my daughter and my son coming with me.
That's awesome.
And 4 of us being, or me going into someone else's suite and taking away 4 of those tickets, right? That's not going to happen. My wife and I did get invited, like, hey, we'll get you and your wife in, but like 4's a big ask for something like this.
They're like, screw the kids. And you're like, yeah, screw the kids.
I mean,
but your wife was like,
you
no.
saw like the Christian McCaffrey suite thing and all that? Have you seen that with the Olivia DeCopo and all that?
I've seen it's like $2.5 million for some of these suites.
A 20-person suite. So basically like $125,000 per person is what you're talking about for that type of ticket. And again, I think it's only going to go up with the more and more big ballers coming into town.
All right, I cannot wait to hear about how that experience goes with you, because I know, knowing you're going to have a great time. You're going to be like, it was once in a lifetime, and then there will be like 5 annoying things that happen throughout the experience where
I'm going to mother people and say
people,
all kinds of
random
crazy
people,
shit.
your family, your wife and kids. Like, I can't wait to hear the whole story with that. You set it up perfectly. We got a whole lot to get through. We got some good segments. Pete was kind of cooking up some segments for us, because I've never done a remote unbutton before. This is my first ever remote unbutton. I was like, it's got to be special and super big. So we got the most important non-quarterbacks in Super Bowl 58. So you've ranked that. The homies have chimed in with some of those.
Now, you helped me out a little bit, and you oversaw it because I bounced some ideas off of you.
Took a while.
There's a lot of good players, and there's a lot of different ways this game can go. So you can put the onus of pressure and all of that in a lot of different ways, but yeah, it'll be a cool little exercise.
I'm going to have my top 5 who potentially has the biggest legacy boost with a victory in Super Bowl 58.
I like
so we
that
have
a lot.
that. We got the big butt. We got the homies playoff predictions. We have Requiem. We will do it on location for the first time ever.
Wow.
We'll lay some teams to rest.
People dying at the Super Bowl.
But first, let's, because Pete was looking at our last conversation. We started with it at the top of the podcast here, where it almost split us up. The 4th down debate, Lions.
I tried all week. I put ads in the paper. New host. We need a new host at Unbuttoned. Open
no one
spot.
responded. No one responded, or else I wouldn't be here right now. But really, on the YouTube video, it was interesting. There were a lot of comments on it. A lot of really good comments on it. So Pete's picked a couple here. This is from Elliot Taxon 7132. Says, this was the best Chris Simms Unbuttoned show ever. I think the back and forth was great. However, I give Chris the edge on the argument, even though Ahmed did pretty well. I'll take that.
You'll take it.
I will take pretty well.
Very good answer there at Elliot Taxon 7132. You're invited back to listen to the pod. I like that. You said I won the argument. You're invited back.
This might be my favorite, though. 2100
right.
Says, funny how in our Lions versus Niners NFC Championship game, we get the closest thing we've ever had to mom and dad fighting on the pod.
Seriously. Oh, I know.
GB Formula 9 says the 4th down combo was epic. I lean with Chris, but Ahmed definitely made his case well. And that was the biggest thing. It's just like, if I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you, which I never do, it's like, at least I don't want it to be a blowout.
Yeah, it wasn't a blowout.
I want it to be close.
You caught
either
me
way.
off guard, actually. Well, because I didn't think you were going to come at me that hard. And you had like some real factual stats, and you like, at first I was like,
had you on your heels.
You had me on my heels. I was on the ropes doing the rope-a-dope, going, oh shit, like he came at me hard here, and I can't figure out how I want to argue with you. So you did shock me.
It was cool, and you know why I did like it too, because it like forced me to like think, like evaluate it and think of it from different angles, because I kind of knew the angles that you were, the best points that you had, and so I had to like go the best points.
So that was not fair either. You get to hear me before you come on.
I knew exactly where you were going to go.
You get to you set me up for failure.
Yeah. I was like looking at, I know more about Mike Badgley than I ever thought.
He hasn't hit a 40 through 49 outside, and you're like bringing up shit to me. I'm like, what the hell?
I had numbers on everything.
When the wind blows from the southwest, he's 1 for 7 in the last month.
Like, 7 weeks ago, I had no idea who Mike Badgley was. I had no clue he was going to be a kicker for our team. And then at that point, I knew everything about him. There were a couple points here. Matt King, 5420, said, maybe a better way to put it is that the 4th down stop was the first time the 49ers D actually actually stop the Lions. If they miss a field goal, the 49ers defense still has not done crap all game, and the Lions offense still would have had a lot of confidence. That's a good point. You know, it's like it was the first opportunity that the 49ers had of having like a positive situation on defense.
That's why
exactly what they gave it
that's
to
why I don't like the call, right? It's that to me would be part of my argument. Again, I know I'm not trying to rehash it or anything, but no, that would be part of it, is that, you know, you open the gate for momentum or the door to the momentum to change.
Sure.
Right? And that's where I just look at the game being, hey, you know, like you saw me say in text a few times, that this isn't week 5 versus the Bears. It's a huge game. It's on the road. The pressure on the player mentally is greater the whole year. And you're playing a team that's the highest quality team you played all year, with some guys on their team that go, whoa, this is a big moment. I got to make a play here, right? And that's where I don't love it. And that was, part of my argument there.
The one thing I didn't say, and governing 368 kind of pointed me in that direction. He goes, Ahmed did make the correct point that Chris is using analytics when he goes back to his experience. That's what analytics are, the aggregate of past situations. A question that should have been addressed was which stop would have been bigger, missing the field goal or a first down. He still goes with you because you're Chris Simms and you're smarter on all this than any one of us. But that is what, in the moment, I didn't think of it, but that is true, because you go, Dan Campbell's using his gut too much. He should have gone back to the history of, football's past. And like at its core, that's exactly what analytics is. They go back through the history of games and like, was a team more likely to win or lose when this happened going forward? And that's kind of like where the percentages come from.
Analytics have always been there, right? They've gone in more depth, ways over the last 10 years, especially. Right? I mean, like Bill Belichick was doing analytics in the early 2000s, right? It wasn't like he was just like, there's a gut feeling Peyton's gonna audible here. Like, no, he had analytics and things that he was gauging within that. Now, the formulas have become more advanced, and we've all become so much more aware of it because we read it and we hear all these different formulas for everything and all that. But, one of my main things, again, is, yes, you don't see teams go to the Super Bowl, play that way, do that type of stuff, and the magnitude of those type of football games versus that type of team too often. And you're right. And I never thought about it either way. It is kind of an analytical statement by me in that way, too. I never thought about it that way. But, yeah, you're right. I guess there's the analytics of the history of the game in that moment, in that magnitude of the game that certainly comes to my mind.
So that was cool. And I'm sure that will come up again, because next year teams will go, and maybe in the Super Bowl, a team could go for a 4th down that we will be discussing.
Well, where we went so into the going for it thing. The one area I think we like kind of quickly went over it was the running play on 3rd down at the end of the game.
That was dumb.
And Dan's come out and kind of admitted that. Yeah. That was a bad play. We kind of gave him a free pass because we got so emotional on the other stuff.
Yeah.
But that was something we seriously ran out of time. But that was something I think we dropped the ball on. I'm not bringing that up as being another, a little too gut feeling, and you just got to play it, the most conservative, smart way possible there. But it's hard, too. I get it, because that's how you got there, and Campbell's played that way. I get it.
But that's what I do like about Dan Campbell, that he was like, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
So then when he says, like, I would have gone for those 4th downs again, you can believe that, right? It's not just he's always just like, I'll always stick with what – it's like, no, those I'll stick with. This one was a mistake. I do think, though, the Lions, I think they were screwed either way, because even if you pass the ball in and you have all your timeouts – it's like getting the 49ers into a 3-and-out situation, which they hadn't done all.
Right.
They could have done it, but it was like their defense gave no indication that they were going to be able to do that. So I was like, did it matter?
Yeah.
Certainly didn't help, but to be continued on our 4th down.
To be continued.
Because there are two things that I think, like, you're like everything. You're right on it. I've learned so much from you. I think I might be able to get you to come around on 4th down situations, maybe sometime in the future.
Maybe.
And,
we'll see.
And rugby football, laterals in football. Those are the two things that I think I have potential to be right in the long term.
The 4th down stuff, you still got some work to go with me. You know me. I'm a little old school in my approach that way. And my biggest thing is, like I told you, and I know we don't know with Badgley, even though he was perfect on the season with field goals, right? All right.
Yeah, let me tell you about Michael Badgley.
We know. I go back to the biggest thing that hits me in the face with that conversation before we move on is just that, like like we kind of talked about, like if Dan Campbell, you told him back in July, you got a chance to go up 27-10 in the NFC Championship game on the road. He's like, all right, I'll take it. But he got a little bit, I think, in the moment and wanted to go for the kill so hard that it affect his decision. And again, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but that would just be my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, we will see. I'm curious to see if it will change how he plays next year.
It will be very interesting.
They say, and I hope it doesn't, because I really think it's exciting, and I think the way this team was built.
I bet you he dials it back a hair.
Maybe.
Because his team's good enough now to where he doesn't need to do that as much.
Well, that could be true.
That would be the one thing I would say to him. Go, hey, you're good. Like, you were the better team on the field. That was part of my argument, too. Like, you're the better team. I mean, as long as you guys keep playing it, it looks like you're going to win the game. So don't give him these chances to get back. So, yeah, I'm with you, though. I'd be very interested to see what or if he adjusts.
That's a good point. They're going to be not the underdog.
No, they're
in
not
a lot
anymore.
Of these games here. They're going to be the hunted. All right, speaking of the hunted, the 49ers and the Chiefs are hunting for another Super Bowl victory in their illustrious franchise history. So what we're going to do here is everyone knows about the quarterbacks, how important is Brock Purdy, and how important Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we're not going to talk about that all week long. The words Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy are not going to come out of your mouth. Actually, they will multiple times, but not in this discussion. These are the most important non-quarterbacks in Super Bowl 58. And so we asked this question to the homies, too. We'll sprinkle those in as we go. So what you did here was you listed 1 through 10. It was like 1 through 12. We had to whittle it down.
It was not easy. It was almost more than that. I mean, I think at first we had like 15 or 16. We were cheating and writing 2 people in a slot.
I know. We didn't end up. We did end up.
We
doing
did it
that
one time.
One time.
We had to do it one spot.
So why was this so difficult for you?
I think because there's a lot of talented football players that have a lot of pressure on them in this game. It's an intriguing matchup because of the versatility in which both teams play in, to where I could take one guy and go, well, I could see the game going like this, and him having to stop this, and then I go, wait, but I could also see the game kind of playing out like this, and now it's not maybe as important for him to be good, and it goes on to the other guy, right? That's where it was tough. And you got 2 teams that are, for the most part, outside-the-box thinkers, have versatile game plans, right? And we know, too, as we were going through this exercise, you go, gosh, damn, is there a lot of good players on the team, on both teams, especially the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's star after star after star for both of these teams. So that's what made it hard. And of course, these are 2 good teams that are going to, after 2 weeks of preparation, going to kind of know what the other team likes to do, or is going to know them as good as anybody's known them all year. And then the teams themselves know that, so they're like, wait, where do we want to zig where they think we're going to zag? Where do we want to zag where they think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that element. Here, before we start the exercise, though.
Sure.
Like, the quarterbacks, just to hit on the Chiefs and Mahomes, and like, we talked about this, the monumental matchup here between 2 great franchises and everything that's going on. I am amazed by the Chiefs, right? I'm nervous for my friend Kyle Shanahan. You know that. I'm rooting for the 49ers. I don't know if that's where my brain thinks they're going to win, though, and I'm not even sold on my pick yet. I got to figure that out here over the next 48 hours. But where I am amazed is even the more time that goes by is by the Chiefs and Mahomes. I'm just amazed with, you heard me talk about the transformation of play, right? The mode they've gone into where, you and I have talked here and done this for a bunch of years together now, and it's like, hey, the Chiefs we're going to shotgun, we're going to throw the ball. You would always hear me in some years, can we add something else to the offense, something else, right? It can't just always be people downfield and you float around, and like, that's not sustainable to win multiple Super Bowls, even though they're challenging that thought, right? But the adjustment made since the Christmas Day loss, the acceptance of who they are, it's like, it feels very Brady and New England-ish to me. It does. It's a different way in which they do it, okay? But they have hit this mode of like, we're gonna just do whatever we gotta do to win the game. And that's, to me, what made New England great, right? Well, all those years we would talk about them. Well, this week they were in the shotgun and threw it 50 times. The next week they played a team and went, no, we got to get smash mouth and run the ball 40 times. And they would do that with a great game plan. The Chiefs aren't quite like that, but they're similar in a lot of ways. And I am amazed by that. I am amazed that they have been able to transform. And I think Mahomes has finally got into a place where he's so comfortable with his status. He knows it's all about winning. Maybe early in his career, he was like, no, I want to throw. I want touchdowns. I want yards and all that. No, he's just like, no, whatever I got to do to win the game, coach? If I got to throw it 20 times, that's great. Nobody will really remember the stats, right? Nobody remembers that Brady threw for 145 yards in his first Super Bowl and got MVP, right? We just go, he was clutch, he won, right? And I feel like they finally accepted that, okay, who cares if it's sexy or not pretty or whatever? We won the game. We could talk about how it's not sexy for 24 hours, but a month from now, you're going to go, damn, they won. They're unbelievable. And that's the mode they've kind of gone into.
Yeah, you know what's like most fascinating about that, and probably most impressive about that, is that one, I think it's two things. One, they have the creativity to be able to figure out different ways to win. I don't think like every team or coach has that creativity or that flexibility.
Right.
And number two is that they have diverse enough talent where they can do that. Like there are some teams I'm sure that you would look at and be like, they got to play this way, and if they don't play that way, they're not going to win. They have no other way they can play.
Right.
But it's like the Chiefs, it's like, all right, we're explosive offensive. It's like, nah, we're kind of a grinded-out Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco team now.
Right.
And those guys, along with Patrick Mahomes, can make that work.
It is. Yeah, I think you're spot on. And I think that's why, I'm amazed by it a little because I felt like for a while they were a little bit like, no, we're going to play like this no matter what. Yeah. And something finally changed to where, they've just embraced, we got to do what we got to do to win the football game. And that's why they're special, and that's why it's, 4 out of 5 years they're here.
And they're here because they have a lot of good players who will be listed in our top 10 most important non-quarterbacks in Super Bowl 58. We're going to go 1 through 10.
Oh, we're going 1. We're starting at 1.
What do you think?
Well, no, it's already late. I'd bow to you guys.
I think we'll do that because I already said it. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong the second time, fourth down discussion, and now this one. So number 1, the number 1 most important player in the Super Bowl, not named Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy, and not a coach. You didn't put coaches in this list either.
Right.
This person is
Christian McCaffrey, right? I don't, me, I'm not one of the ones that would go with the most obvious things ever. I get that. This has got nuance to it. One, the Chiefs are super talented on defense. They are super creative, like you just talked about, and Spagnuolo is a guy that can come up with game-specific game plans and go, wait, you haven't seen me do this, and now what's your answer going to be on the fly? I'm playing a different way than what you studied, what I did for the last 20 weeks in a row, right? So that's where. So I get into the running game with McCaffrey. Yeah, we know that, right? But it's the stress of his abilities that I think is why it's the most important. And I think Shanahan will play with him early on to see the adjustments. I think you're going to see McCaffrey move around, and you're going to go – and it's all going to be like not necessarily the ball's going to him. It's going to be more of like, hey, let's do this with them. Let's do that with them. Let's see how they play them. So the next series I'll have a feel, and then I'll call the plays that are for him, right? That would be my 2 cents, right? Shanahan's pretty special that way. This is his best player on the offensive side of the ball. The Chiefs, as much as they do on defense, they are one of those teams that it's a lot of communicating. We're playing man. Oh, no, they switched to this formation. We want to play zone now. We're going to switch out of it. McCaffrey, some of those matchups, getting stuck on a corner, or a linebacker man-to-man when he goes out at receiver, right? Oh, the next time they do a corner, whatever else. So him the chess piece. And I think passing game is somewhere where I look to where he could really be effective if they can get him matched up on Nick Bolton and some of those guys where it's an advantage McCaffrey doing that. But the other reason I throw this on there too, Ahmed, all those things are schematical and X and O's. I think the 49ers, they need a few plays on offense that go above and beyond what Shanahan draws up, right? To me, to win this game, they need a handful of plays in the game where it's McCaffrey, breaks an ankle, breaks 3 tackles and gets a 25-yard gain, even though it was supposed to be a gain of 4, right? Or they throw the ball into the flat and we go, oh, it's a 5-yard gain. And, oh, shit, he made this guy miss and they gained 40, right? That has got to happen in this. If it goes status quo, catch the ball, get tackled right where I had it and all that, that to me is advantage Chiefs, and more likely means they're going to win the game. And that's where, McCaffrey, guys like Debo, they can bring that aspect to the 49ers game to go above and beyond what Shanahan draws up.
Brendan Panikar tweets us and says, how many times should the 49ers run Christian McCaffrey on Sunday? Feels like he's going to be Super Bowl MVP because of how involved he should be. And then he goes, clap it up. We'll wait till the end to clap it up, Brendan.
But you're right. And again, I'm just going on what I study and what I see, and you know I look at that a lot. He, to me, is not only their most talented player, but the guy that can schematically stress out the Chiefs more than anybody else and put them in some predicaments to go, oh, I wanted to play this defense, but not in this formation, maybe with him split out next to Debo. Now I got to change my call and play this way, and it might force Spags to be in some defenses he doesn't want to be in. That's where, I think the big thing is too. And, the best way, Spags, those creative blitzes he has and all that, yeah, if I'm the 49ers, I'm leaning on the run game for sure to calm down Spags, to make things life easier on Purdy, and keep the guy in red and white and 1-5 over there on the sidelines as long as possible. So I'd be shocked if he's not a huge, huge part of the game.
So you think it's, by placing him number one, you think it's highly unlikely that the 49ers win and Christian McCaffrey is not existing?
I would almost be shocked by that. Shocked. If we came back on Monday and we were like, wow, they won the Super Bowl and McCaffrey only had 45 yards rushing and 2 catches for 20 yards, I'd be like, whoa. Then the Chiefs went way overboard on doubling them or doing crazy stuff. But, yeah, I don't see that happening.
So the flip side of it is what are the Chiefs, and you've already kind of touched on it, going to do on the defensive line? It leads to your number 2 guy here, and it's TYZI94, rolls off the tongue. Thanks for chiming in. He goes, sup, homies? Think this Chiefs defensive front can slow down the 49ers running game and make it one-dimensional. Once again, love the pod as always. Have fun in Vegas, boys. We will. Chris will have more fun than me all week long. But number 2 on your list is the defensive tackle for the Chiefs and Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, right? I first wrote the list down, and I was like, I had Chris Jones farther down the list, and as I continued to think about it, I was like, wait, I can't not. The Derek Nottie situation still an issue. All the things we brought up before the Ravens football game, right, that I had studied in the Bills football game. The Chiefs are worried about their run defense. They were worried. They were telling me that by the way they played against Buffalo, even the way they played against Baltimore. Yet Baltimore decided not to do it. I don't understand that still to this day, right? But, yes, I look at Chris Jones for, one, he's got to be a beast in the middle because of all the great Shanahan design runs, and we know how talented they are. 2, the other thing is, with Jones, of course, pressure on the quarterback, pushing the pocket, all of that. But where he made and where he is a the play-up guy, doesn't get the ability, is his ability to disrupt the quarterback, not let him see over the middle, and like we saw in the first Super Bowl matchup, get his hands up when the 49ers want to throw all those quick throws over the middle, play action Debo over the middle. He's got an incredible sixth sense to go, wait, I'm not going to get to the quarterback. I can see the quarterback setting up the throw. It's happening too fast. His eyes into the backfield, he then turns into Shaquille O'Neal and says, I'm going to swat the shit out of every ball that comes this way. And that's where he is a handful, let alone we know he's capable of making a game-changing play as well. And, there's some guys there, the 49ers, Feliciano, their guard. He struggled a little last week. He wasn't great the first playoff game against the Packers. I would think the 49ers are a little concerned of him manned up against Chris Jones in some situations. So that's where I went with Jones. He is the kind of guy that can take over a game, and he's got the brains to realize the situation we're in and what the offense might do. And, yeah, they got to have a plan for him, and he's got to have a big day if the Chiefs want to win.
So is there enough that Kyle can do and will do in the Super Bowl that will lessen the importance of Chris Jones? I mean, it's just you can't negate him entirely, but do you think that'll be a focus of his game plan?
I think in certain situations of, hey, if they're in the right front and, hey, line, if we're not sure which way to slide the protection, right, and it's kind of even on both sides, always go to Chris Jones.
Yeah, even if he's slide it right to the middle,
even if he's one guy, then if he's right over the guard, right? They will go, the center snap, make the point wherever, but we want you to end up kind of helping out the one guy that he's over, so it becomes a 2-on-1. I think that's certainly a thing, let alone, do I think there's some maybe 3rd and 1s where they're going to look at it and go, let's not run at Chris Jones. Let's do something and get in a formation where we can kind of figure out, he's here usually, and we'll go opposite of him. Those are the things I think Shanahan will look at to disrupt Jones's dominance.
So you initially had Chris Jones lower on your list. He ends up at number 2. You initially had this next guy lower on your list. He ends up at number 3, and he is?
Fred Warner, middle linebacker. right? And I kind of told you my thoughts of why I moved him up, and I think as soon as I said it, you were like, yeah, you're right? Because, one, quarterback of the 49ers defense. Two, think about his week. I mean, first off, the Chiefs can run the ball. Pacheco coming downhill. Oh, shit, you gotta tackle that guy, right? Got to do that. But more importantly, forget having to worry about that. Now he's got to worry about sideline to sideline with the RPOs and wide receiver screens that were so awesome against the Ravens. But the two biggest things of the day, I think, fall right on Fred Warner's lap. Oh, wait, Travis Kelce, he plays tight end. He's going to be in the middle of the field a whole lot. And not only are you going to have to worry about covering that SOB, who's superstar, you're going to have to, as you're covering him, like have an eye on Mahomes for when he scrambles, right? So he's going to be in the guy that's going to be in the bind of like, wait, I'm on Kelce, and he's going to see Mahomes dancing, and they're going to be playing their little match zone, and he's going to be like, oh, shit, I got to stay with Kelce, but I can see he's about to run. What do I do? And he's going to have to make some extraordinary plays to combat that little formula we know the Chiefs are so damn good at.
The Detroit Lions made life fairly difficult. You think a similar thing, because I think I saw him on Gibbs at times, and Laporta had a good game. I mean, do you think it's like a nightmare 2 games in a row for Fred Warner?
Fred gets put, Fred's the old guy of like we talk about a lot, right? Guy that's awesome, that gets put in the hardest positions possible, right? Because he's awesome. And then we come away and go, well, you didn't grade out very good that game. And I want to go, well, yeah, you try covering that guy the whole game, right? Or you try doing that. I'm the only guy in the middle of the field, and it's me versus Jahmyr Gibbs. Good luck. Like, nobody's making that play, right? Oh, it's a bad grade. Well, nobody can tackle him. In fact, he's the only guy we'd even trust to put him in that situation. Yeah. So, yeah, Fred, I'm sure will be in some uncomfortable spots. The 49ers defense, as we know, has not played well. Like for a month, not compared to what they were early December, late November.
It's interesting, yeah. Right? Their defense throughout the regular season, and it got worse as the regular season went on, but in totality was 89.7 rush yards allowed per game, third best in the NFL, but in the playoffs, 159 rushing yards per game.
Yeah, they have become a little too predictable. Some of their stars haven't played their best, and what was the other point I was going to be? They're predictable, stars their best. And, I feel like they've, for lack of a better way to say it, like just played too many soft defenses, haven't attacked enough, right? I think I said this to you last week. I'll just be shocked if the 49ers don't play in a more aggressive style of defense than what we saw against Green Bay and Detroit. Right? The D tackles have been underwhelming, but I think a little bit of the run game stuff goes into the predictability, right? Because like guys like Dan Campbell and LaFleur are like, wait, they're in this, they line up like this a lot. So let's come up with a few plays to gash it, right? So that's what they got to be careful of a little bit. Let alone, I mean, how many times in the first 3 quarters did we just see guys scorching across the 49ers defense on your Lions team wide open? Right? So that, to me, you can't be watching that if you're Wilk, Shanahan, anybody on the 49ers are going, well, that should be good enough versus the Chiefs. Like, no, something's got to change, and I would think it's going to be something more aggressive. You're not going to go down to me in this game going, let's do what we do even though we've been getting carved up and just not let big plays happen. Like, that's over because the Chiefs have shown they'll be patient and just surgically destroy you. Dink and dunk, screen, RPO, short pass, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I think the 49ers are going to be in your face a little bit more than we've seen.
We'll let Woodrow Call giveaway number 4 here for us. He goes, or she, if Bucs Chiefs in Super Bowl 55 taught me anything, the most important non-quarterback is Nick Allegretti in this game.
Yeah.
And he is yours along with Joe Thuney.
Yeah, well, whoever plays there, right? I mean, we'll see where that goes. Joe Thuney has not been ruled out of this football game. Andy Reid said don't count him out yet. That's a tough injury with the pectoral injury. We know that. But, Allegretti, who did a solid job last week. But as you heard me say after we broke down the Ravens game the next day on film and all that, as the game went on, he was getting torn apart. Matabuke was having a day. That this is where the list is hard. It's like, do I go with Nick Allegretti or do I go with Javon Hargrave here, right? That's where it's like, but I hope everybody
mention Javon
right.
Hargrave.
As you said, you just make sure you encompass that guy, right? So hey, Javon Hargrave, you got paid like one of the best D tackles in football. If you're going up against Nick Allegretti in this game, and hey, 49ers, if you want to win this game, the front four's got to get there. It can't be too much blitz or Mahomes and them are going to tear that apart eventually, right? These are the matchups they got to win. And so I look at Allegretti to go, if he plays like he did in the third and fourth quarter against the Ravens this week against Eric Armstead and Hargrave, then they're going to be in trouble. And Mahomes isn't going to be able to see or step up in the pocket, and there's going to be issues. So, his play, Joe Thuney's health, I think certainly a big, big part of success for whether it's the Chiefs or the 49ers. And again, we know the run game too. You just said it. Hargrave hasn't been as stout against the run. The Niners haven't been as stout. Allegretti's not bad in the run, but he's still not Joe Thuney. And that'll just be interesting to see what happens there. But if it is Allegretti, the pressure goes to Armstead and Hargrave, dude. You better show up because you're supposed to win the matchup against the backup guard.
Yeah, and if they don't, if it's almost like a stalemate, then it's a victory for the
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And it's disappointing, and we come in here and start to go, damn, those two D tackles, they're paying them big money, and they didn't make a play the whole game.
All right, so we've gone back and forth, 49ers, Chiefs. We'll continue that symmetry, and for that we go inside the numbers, powered by AWS. Number 5 for you is a wide receiver for the 49ers. And at first I would have thought maybe that's Deebo Samuel we're about to talk about. No, it's that guy on your screen right now. It's Brandon Ayuk. And as we go inside the numbers, the most receiving yards on 10 or more air yard targets in the 2023 regular season. And so Tyreek catching bombs from Tua. But there you got Brandon Ayuk over 1,000 yards on these deep targets this year.
If they want to beat the Chiefs, they got to attack. The Chiefs are going to be in your face. The Chiefs like to play man-to-man. We just talked about the Chiefs like the blitz, right? McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, they're like bring it on type of dudes, right? So I know Deebo Samuel, of course, is important to the game. We got that. But I think with the way the Chiefs play, Deebo does not thrive versus great man-to-man football teams, right? He's not real long. His long speed doesn't scare people, right? His acceleration is phenomenal, right? That's when we go, whoa, because he can go 0 to 60 in like 5 yards, right? But we don't see Deebo Samuel go over the top for 70-yard bombs. That doesn't happen. That's not who he is, right? He's a running back playing receiver, basically.
He'll catch it at 5 and then run over 10
tackles,
dudes.
break an ankle, and then re-accelerate, and we go, whoa, right? This is the game for Ayuk. Ayuk is long. Ayuk has got better top-end speed than Deebo Samuel. Ayuk is a clearly better route runner than Deebo Samuel. So that's where I look at this and go, he is the one in these situations on 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 where it's going to be him man-to-man on L'Jarius Sneed or Trent McDuffie, and he's got to win those matchups. And to that, they're not going to win these matchups or the game if they're throwing it to him 3 yards down the football field. It's got to be do some stuff to attack, not only to make big plays for your offense, but I also think to back the Chiefs off a little bit, right? So that's where I look at it. And, I think Ayuk is going to have because I don't think he's going to get doubled, right? Deebo might get doubled sometimes because of how he's used. He's in the middle of the field. They might have a bracket on him or whatever.
Right.
So Ayuk could be the guy to go, I'm one-on-one over here. Do you want to throw me the 15-yard comeback? Do you want to throw me the 20-yard in-cut? Hey, I might run the go route. And that's where I think his presence could be really felt in this one.
So this is interesting. Next Gen Stats says that his potential matchup, Ayuk's and L'Jarius Sneed, allowed the lowest completion percentage against targets over 10 air yards in 2023. Just 24.4% of those passes were complete.
This is part of the reason. They got their hands full in this department. McDuffie and Sneed are real. Like, they are awesome. And L'Jarius is, I would expect to see that matchup right there. L'Jarius on Ayuk and McDuffie on Deebo. Because McDuffie's got a little more strength and power to him, nor is his top-end speed the same as L'Jarius needs. Like, L'Jarius has got 3 rockets up his ass. It's hard to run by him. I mean, the first touchdown he gave up was just the other day. The whole season We sit here every week and talk about man-to-man, 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 and Lamar had to scramble for 4 seconds and throw a touchdown. Or no, it was Josh Allen in the front corner of the end zone where he scrambled, threw the ball, running to his left and the right. It's the first time he let up a touchdown the whole year. Like, that's insane. It's insane. So that'll be a great matchup to watch Sunday afternoon.
All right, so that is the top 5. We now enter the bottom 5. But before we do that, I say that was Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS.
Man, you're good.
And after I say that, we go into number 6. And number 6 for you, we stay on the defensive line. So we got a defensive lineman in Chris Jones. These big butt guys. I love them. They're always important. And now the most important one for the 49ers on that front line, unless it's maybe Hargrave or Armstead because of that matchup with the guard. Nick Bosa, you have at number 6 here, which I think for some people would think, man, maybe he's a higher guy, he's more impactful, but you have him kind of right in the middle here at 6.
Again, it's hard to gauge. Here's the we know he's important, right? We know he's a star. To me, he's got to play a little bit better than he's played the whole year in general, right? You gotta match up a tackle where he's alluded to they hold a lot, right? Their weak spot, if you want to get pressure on Mahomes, is the tackle position. Now, they've been better. There's no doubt about that. They have. It's not like week 7 or 8 anymore. Yeah, sure, there's some holding going on and all that. But, one, Bosa's their best pass rusher, right? You heard me say they can't make a living blitzing Mahomes. Mahomes has been around too much, seen too much, let alone he'll make one guy miss, and all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh. Now he's got time, and we got no safety in the middle of the field, and whoa, watch out, right? So you got to be careful. At the end of the day, listen, the 49ers paying all these guys this money. They got to get there, right? They got to get there. The 4 got to get there, and especially Bosa. A little bit like we talked with Allegretti's on Hargrave. Well, here's another one. Like Donovan Smith, right? Jawan Taylor, they haven't played their best. You're supposed to win that matchup. So his presence and ability to get around the edge, maybe tackle Mahomes when he tries to escape once or twice, certainly going to be big, right? But the reason I don't make him higher than this, right, is just because there's ways for the Chiefs especially and offenses to kind of negate those issues, right? Like, again, think about the Ravens game. When he only held the ball really long, like 3 or 4 throws the whole game. All the other ones were boom, out quick, boom, out quick, boom, out quick. And then every now and then it was, okay, hey, I'll sit here. This one we got to let it develop down the football field. In those moments, Bosa's got to get there. But the reason I didn't make him higher is just because, hey, running the ball, screens, keeping a tight end over there to block him, chipping with the back, all those things. Those are things that like an offense can do to hide a mismatch at defensive end a little bit. And that was one of the reasons I didn't maybe make him even more important. As we know, he's extremely important in this one. I got that. And that will be a big matchup. I would think they're going to keep him over there on Donovan Smith throughout the day and see where that goes. I would think that's the matchup they like, and he's got to win that more than he doesn't. That's for sure.
Well, here's some good news for Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Is that he'll come into this game with some confidence and a new trophy because now it is time for the big butt of the Conference Championship Awards.
Whoa.
It is that time.
Big butts and we cannot lie.
The big butt of the week.
Oh.
Time to give some love to these big guys.
Some tushes.
There's a couple sacks, forced fumble.
He's a butting superstar.
And
give it to him, Ahmed.
One butt cheek.
And this is why you're the big butt expert of the world right now.
Pete is just dying for us to have people come by while we're talking about the Big Butt Award, and you dropping F-bombs here and being like, what is happening here?
Right.
What happened to NBC Sports? Nick Bosa.
Doug Gottlieb's about to walk by. We can look at his ass if you want.
And he is in the segment. He is walking by during the segment.
He is. He is.
Nick Bosa led all edge with 8 pressures in the conference champion. I'm just moving on from that. He led all edge with 2 sacks, played 70 snaps, missed just 2 snaps for the 49ers.
Yeah.
I love that. I bias towards did you play most, if not all, of the game. So Nick Bosa, not a name that we have talked about. I think this actually might be his first big butt of the year.
I want to say it was a second,
maybe
but
it's
maybe
a
I'm
second.
wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Pete's got all the information. Pete's checking, but Nick Bosa, you talked about he's got to show up. They're paying him all this money. He did show up in the NFC Championship.
He did. It was
game.
one of his best games all year. And, of course, showed up in one of the biggest moments of the game on the 4th and 2, right, to get pressure on Goff and make him move. And, he throws the bad ball. Reynolds could have caught it, all that stuff, right? So, yeah, it's, again, been a good year. It just hasn't been the superstar takeover year that we've seen from other seasons from Bosa.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to be important. And, hey, the emotions of the Super Bowl. I know he plays a lot of snaps. I don't like if he plays that many snaps again. I don't. This isn't Jared Goff. This is Mahomes. You're going to be chasing him around. If you think you're going to play 70 out of 75 snaps in this game, he will not be worth shit on the last 2 drives of the game if it's one of those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got to be careful. Not only are you, like my dad always says, my dad in the first drive of Super Bowl 21, he got in the 3rd play, and he's like, I looked at everybody, and everybody was hyperventilating. Like, nobody could breathe. Everybody's he goes, the only guy was Zeke Moat, and he's like, Zeke, you could throw him out of a plane. And he'd be like, well, I'm out of a plane. Like, no big deal, right? Yeah. But he said everybody else was literally like, he said Mark Bavaro, like, literally couldn't talk. So those things add to your exhaustion, let alone you're already more revved up because it's the Super Bowl. You know the monumental effects of your life on the game, all of that. And then you're going to chase Mahomes around, right? So they better be smart and spelling him a little bit. I certainly look at that. 2, the other thing what they do, all those wide receiver screens, they're hard on DNs. What's he got to do? Rush the passer, turn around and run to the sidelines as hard as he can, right? The Chiefs know that, So that's where they got to be careful about how much he does play.
That's interesting. So, yeah, it's almost like you got to go in with a hockey mentality, right? That's what they always do. Those first shifts are like 30 seconds. Maybe in the Super Bowl, everyone just needs to kind of take that.
I do think so. Early on, you got to shuffle them in and out a little bit.
Use the whole play clock, maybe.
Shuffle them in and out a little bit, keep them fresh. So when they run 2-jet wasp late in the 4th quarter, like they did the last time, he's got the juice to run around the left tackle and get the sack.
Defensive tackle, no longer playing.
Yeah.
But you don't need to win to get a Big Butt of the Week award. Justin Madubuike versus the Chiefs last week, and I had always said Madubuike, and I think we've said that on the pod.
I know.
And then I heard Romo say Madubuike.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, he's been under fire lately, Romo. I don't even know. I don't know if he got that right. But I think it is Madubuike. So Justin Madubuike,
yes.
second Big Butt of the season award, led
Right.
all defensive tackles with 6 pressures, second most defensive stops, scheduled to become a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
So in this offseason, that'd be a big name to perhaps. You'd think the Ravens would do everything they can to keep him, but you can't keep everyone.
That's going to be big, especially when you lose your D coordinator and he's going up to a place where, hey, he goes, our defense sucks. We need a Madubuike. Like, we need him badly, right? So
and they go, who's that? That was Madubuike. And I was like, no, trust me, we've been wrong.
We checked. So, like, I got to think he's going to break the bank. This is one of the best pass rushing D tackles in all of football. Like we just talked about with Allegretti going through the list, right? 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, he was unblockable. I mean, he was in Mahomes' face like every play. So he is a phenomenal football player. If I'm the Ravens, there's no way you let him out the door. I don't think they're probably going to be able to keep him and Patrick Queen. Because let me just tell you, Patrick Queen at the end of the year was amazing. In the AFC Championship game, if you asked me who the best linebacker on the field was, I'd go Patrick McQueen popped more than Roquan Smith in that game.
Wow.
And there was a few games this year where I would have gone, I actually saw Patrick McQueen going around like a crazy man more than ever. But I don't know if they're going to be able to pay both of those guys because they got guys like Kyle Hamilton coming up too. At some point, I think they'd like to get a big-time pass rusher to go along with their group. But it'd be interesting. But Madubuike, is on his way to stardom and a big paycheck.
And no better indication of that than getting his second Big Butt of the Week award this season. So here they are. So there's the Bosa photo taking down guy and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Kristen, we couldn't find any other photo than
that.
Well,
that's a good one, too.
No, it's a great photo. I mean, it's a well-defined derriere.
Are we sure that's Madubuike and the other one? That's an old picture? What is that? That does not look like to him. That doesn't look like him to me.
Is he bigger than you thought or what?
Well, first off, that looks like a 0 on the
No. Could be a 9. What number is he?
He's 92, right? I'm pretty sure he's 92.
I don't know. It could.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what?
Unless it's a rookie year picture.
Hey, Kristen, it's close enough. He's wearing a Ravens uniform, bigger gentleman. I think it was a. We'll check on that.
You're funny.
As we continue the countdown or the count up, I guess.
I'm really I can see body shapes and usually tell.
Identify, yeah. You can take the jersey. Oh, we should do that in the off season.
Yes.
We'll Photoshop out. Oh, yes. This is what we'll do. We'll do a silhouette of just bodies in the NFL.
Right.
And we'll see if you can identify them.
I feel like I'm pretty good at that department. Like that, I really want to throw the challenge flag on that one.
We'll see.
So we'll see.
If you're wrong on that, if that actually was Matabig, we're not going to do that segment. We'll scrap that segment. Number 7 on your list as we continue to go up here. Have we gone back and forth? No, we had 2 49ers in a row. And now we go 3 49ers in a row. Oh, a lot of 49ers. Very important in this game. Number 7 for you is?
Charvarius Ward. Yes, Charvarius Ward, who is number 7 actually in real life too, right?
Okay.
Yes, that's like, this shouldn't come as a shock. We've kind of been hitting on this, right? 49ers got to be more aggressive. They're not a great man-to-man team. He's clearly their best man-to-man corner. He's had a very good year, right? They got a run game to worry about. They got the screens and the RPOs. Man-to-man defense will make those things hard, right? So that's where I look at Charvarius Ward, and if I'm the 49ers, I go back to my whole thing like I've said, like I'm going to be more aggressive. We're not going to sit back and let Mahomes just do whatever he wants all game. We got to put him on an island. He's got to be on Rashee Rice like a lot during the game, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I think it's really important, right? One, and within that, if he's matched up to a Rashee Rice, and why I say it's important, hey, the Chiefs aren't bashful when you do that stuff, right? You play man-to-man like we saw the last few weeks. That's what's cool about them. Oh, RPO, run the ball, screen, short pass, run the ball, RPO, screen. Oh, they're playing man-to-man. Oh, MVS deep, right? That's what we've seen. So whether he's covering an MVS or Rashee Rice, if they are playing more man-to-man, they're going to get tested. Like, the Chiefs aren't going to go down and go, well, they're playing man-to-man. Let's keep throwing the 4-yard pass. You know the Chiefs. That's not who they are. They're going to go for it, and that's going to put it on him. And, of course, he's an ex-Chief, right? And it's personal to him. So, yeah, this is one where – and he's going to be asked, I think, to do something that's a little more uncomfortable than what he's had to do with the 49ers the last few years. Like I said, they're a quarters, a cover 3 team, a match zone team. And this one, I think you got to put him on the island a little bit more.
You almost had MVS on your top 10 list, and we talked about it, and I was like, well, he probably could catch 0 passes, and the Chiefs could still win the game, and so that's why we left him off the list. But you thought about it for a second.
I did, because his catches, they're monumental. Yeah. Like, they're game-changing catches. And that's where I thought about it, like, hey, those – the last few weeks, those 5 or 6 man-to-man plays they get a game, they go, oh, all right, it's Valdez-Scantling time. He can fly. Let's see if you can run with him, because our quarterback can throw to him, and let's see how it works. And he had a few big catches against them last year when they played the 49ers in the regular season, because the 49ers were being a little aggressive. They were trying to stop the short to intermediate throws, and they started to attack to him downfield, right? So that'll be a good matchup to watch.
If you were to do a list of the top potential wild cards, that MVS
would be towards the top
near
of that.
the top of the
exactly
list.
Right.
These last 3 are going to be names that we've already kind of talked about because just in the discussion of them. But you're staying in the defensive secondary for number 8. You got the corner for the Chiefs and Trent McDuffie.
McDuffie is awesome, all-pro corner. His role is a little different than L'Jarius Sneed, right? First off, McDuffie plays nickel and outside corner. McDuffie is a phenomenal blitzer. McDuffie is phenomenal in the run game. So that's why they love him at nickel, because he could be like almost an extra linebacker there. It's going to be important for him in this one, right? Because there's going to be some personnel sets where they're going to go, wait, we don't want to put our big linebackers in the game here, right? This is the 49ers, IU Kittle. It's 21 personnel where you normally play run defense, but as we've talked about in the past, when they spread out, all of a sudden you're like, oh, shit, we're in a run defense, and now they're going to throw the ball, and we're going to mismatch. Right. McDuffie's kind of that guy that can counterbalance that attack a little bit by going, yeah, okay, I'm not a middle linebacker, but I tackle about as close to as good as one, right? Let alone now, oh, you're trying to put McCaffrey out here in the slot, I can cover him. So that's where I look at him. I think he's the guy that's going to have a lot of pressure on him through the scheme-wise and the things Shanahan and the 49ers will do, and then, of course, what he's asked to do, let alone with some of his blitzes and stuff. I look at him to go, he could be a guy that comes off the edge, gets a strip sack, they throw a screen like they did to Tyreek Hill in Germany. He strips it out of his hands, right? So, I think Trek McDuffie's got a big role in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him show up more than once or twice.
Kind of a theme in your list here I'm sensing here. It's players for the Chiefs who can mitigate all the weapons that the 49ers have and slow them down, and also players that will protect Patrick Mahomes or hope to protect him. And number 9 on your list is Donovan Smith.
Yeah, Donovan Smith, and that goes, again, to our obvious conversation.
Yep.
Right? What are we going to get? Now, the whole week, and this is where I always give really good defensive lines the advantage in the Super Bowl, right? Doesn't matter how good you are. Now, this 49ers D-line, I think, is the least good it's been in their last 4 NFC Championship games, right? I think it's the least dominant D-line they've had. So that worries me a little bit. But here where we talked about Donovan Smith. He's had issues during the year, the holding. I think Nick Bosa said it to bring light to it, right? He said it publicly so the world will hear it, the referees will hear it, the NFL hears it. He's going to say it to the referee before the game. Shanahan and Wilkes are going to say it to the referee before the game, right? So there's going to be a spotlight on Donovan Smith. And that's why I say it, Let alone we know he hasn't been perfect at that position anyways. And then you couple with the great upsets in Super Bowl history, right? The Giants over the Patriots in Super Bowl 42, right? The undefeated Patriots and all that. Why did that happen? Because all Strahan and Tuck heard all week. And OCU, if you guys don't get to Brady, we can't win the Super Bowl. We can't blitz. If we blitz, Brady's going to torch us. If you guys don't dominate the game, we can't win the Super Bowl. And, of course, defensive linemen, they're psychos to begin with, and you start to do that to them, they start to rise to the occasion. And I'm sure that's a little bit of the conversation the 49ers are getting this week. Hey, it's Mahomes. Hey, we don't want to blitz. Hey, Nick Bosa, we're paying you $34 million a year. Donovan Smith, the last team doesn't even want him anymore. Can you whoop his butt constantly, right? And that's what Donovan's going to have, that pressure on him. And they're going to be told all week, you're supposed to beat Donovan Smith. So he better be ready. And does he commit a big penalty or a holding in a big moment? Those are the reasons I put him on this list. And I think it's fairly obvious.
People are giving Bosa a lot of credit for the mind game, just like you said.
Yeah.
It's just like now the refs are going to be watching it. They can't hold as much. You know who doesn't agree that it was a great move? All the 49ers offensive linemen who would like to hold maybe Chris Jones and a George Karlaftis and something it would have been maybe a little easier if you hadn't said anything like that. But who knows? We'll see how it plays out.
And you poke the Chiefs a little bit. We know they love anything for motivation.
All right, barely making your top 10 is a player that I think some people would have number 1, including realistic takes.
Right.
His most important non-quarterback has to be Travis Kelce. When Travis is going, the Chiefs' offense is going. But you have him at number 10.
It's like he could be 1 or he could be 10. I don't even know. He was the hardest
but
person.
But not 5. He would not be 5. He'd either be at the top or the bottom.
There's a little bit of Travis Kelce of they're going to make him part of the offense. So it almost takes it takes the luster away to a degree, right? As we talked about, the Chiefs know who they are. So I guess I took a little importance off of it, even though you're not wrong at all, realistic takes. You're not wrong at all. The reason I guess I take a little off of it is only because I'm have you watched the last 2 games? The first 3 drives, every other play is going to be, we're going to find a way to get Travis Kelce going and get him going, right? It's almost inevitable. That's to the point where, I know he's extremely important. I get that. But it's he could be 4 for 40 and 4 touchdowns. I don't know. He could be 9 for 120 and no touchdowns. I don't know where to place it. I know he's really important. I get that. But
can the Chiefs?
I also go ahead. Can the Chiefs what?
Can the Chiefs win without him having?
I think they can.
Yeah,
I do. Like I said, I don't think he has to have a huge statistical day. I think there's going to be such a like burden on him or a spotlight on him by the 49ers defense that they are going, his effect will be there no matter what. Okay, Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner are on him. Well, somebody behind him and now is wide open because they've had two guys there.
Yeah.
And now there's a gaping hole, right? So that's where, like, him being 9 for 100 or 9 for 110 does not mean, like, if he doesn't do that, they can't win the game. I don't agree with that. They can use him as a decoy. They use him so well that usually in games they don't use him like that. It's just because teams have gone all in on stopping him, and I think the Chiefs have enough now to, capitalize even when he's not killing it on the stat book.
Not Bucky Cox has an interesting point. He goes, in the 2019 AFC Championship game, the Patriots played a disguised double Tyreek every play defense, and it worked well for a half. Can the 49ers do something similar with Kelsey, or is Mahomes too experienced now and will pick them apart?
Yes. You're not going to fool Mahomes that way. And, a little bit of this is where I don't love the Seattle scheme, right, and all of that. You've heard we brought this up during the year where sometimes they don't do stuff like this. Like doubling people's not really in the 49ers arsenal.
Yeah.
They're just not who they are, right? So that's where, like, remember we had the conversation of, like, during the year, like, the Jets defense is awesome, but they play one way the whole year. The Browns defense probably doesn't have the talent the Jets defense does, but Schwartz does so much crazy shit. They had games where their defense literally won the game for them, right? Am I making a right comparison there?
Yeah.
Right? Where the Jets defense is really good, but it was just like, hey, we bend a little, but we never break. And the Browns are a little bit like, yeah, we break every now and then, but we break you a lot too, right? And there's a difference there. And that's where the 49ers are not one of those teams that really do that. So I'll be interested to see, do they throw a curveball out there like that? It's something I really don't see on film. It's not part of their DNA. I doubt it. I think what they will try to do was play zones and have great awareness, of course, of where he is and their rules and how they want to pass him off and do that too. The other part of, like, the Kelsey thing where, again, is it important? It's not important. I know it's all important, but, like, he's going to get – it's like the game plan doesn't even matter sometimes for the other team, right? I mean, we double him. Great. But now Mahomes has danced around for 7 seconds, and your double doesn't work that long, so now he's open, right? So I don't know. Maybe I should have made him higher.
No. Stand by it.
I think he's – of course, a huge part of the football game, and he's going to be target number 1 for them, as we know. But I don't look at it again. I think that's my main point, that he has to go for 8 for 120 for them to win the game.
Yeah.
I don't. I think if they call enough plays, he gets a few touches, they're going to adjust and bend to him, and it's going to mean other people are open and create mismatches in other spots for this Chiefs offense.
All right, let's see what you think about some other names that the homies threw out there that you may or may not have mentioned. Spud Austin 83 says Taylor Swift. She could be the most shown person during the Super Bowl.
I'm excited. She looked cool at the Grammys last night.
She's everywhere.
She's going to Japan and coming back,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
It's insane. It really is. But I guess when you got a jet that flies that fast, it's not that big of a deal.
She has a jet that flies fast?
I'm disappointed if she doesn't. I'm disappointed if she doesn't have a G6 global extra rocket up that thing's ass plane to get back home. Okay?
That is a sentence I don't think anyone thought that they'd hear. Like, we'd hear Taylor Swift a lot, not in that context, in that way. Carl Phillips says the most important non-quarterback, last year's Super Bowl MVP, Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Nick Bolton for you is like one, because it was like Christian McCaffrey / Nick Bolton is going to be a person that's going to have a lot of responsibility in containing Christian McCaffrey.
Right. Bolton was one where, like, that's where this was hard. It's like, wait, Bolton to me, quarterback of the defense. He is the guy that's going to be responsible getting everybody organized. Oh, no, now McCaffrey's running downhill. Oh, no, now McCaffrey's over here. Willie Gay's health, I think, is something to watch here, too. Right? Had a little neck injury, didn't play the AFC Championship. They are at their best when those two are on the field because they are kamikaze. They're as good as speed at linebacker as any duo in football when they're together.
NMFCB says Isaiah Pacheco, if he can run wild on this 49ers D-line, who gave up 139 yards to Detroit in just the first half, KC will blow out San Francisco. What do you think of that? If Pacheco has a huge game, this could be a rout for the Chiefs.
I would think it's trouble. I would think it's trouble for the 49ers, yeah. I got to think is the biggest worry after the last few weeks is, and then it goes into why I talk about the aggressive stuff, right? It's like you can't play run defense and play soft zone behind it. It's just not going to work against this team. You're going to have to go both. We're going to get near the line of scrimmage. We're going to crowd the line of scrimmage to stop the run, and we're going to make it hard to throw 5- and 6-yard completions and make you throw balls down the football field. Pacheco, no doubt. I mean, hey, the Chiefs they're almost a 50-50 team, basically. To me, is Pacheco, like, the run game's a given. They're going to stay with it. They're going to give him his carries even if it's not working. I think they realize who they are. Does he make a big play in the pass game coming out of the backfield, the screen game? That's where I look to Pacheco maybe to make a difference-making kind of presence or announcement to the game.
I love Isaiah Pacheco. I just love the way he plays.
He's another guy. He wasn't on our list. It's like, he was on my original list. But again, as I sit there and look at it, I got like 40 names for that damn list.
You know what I say? There are 40 top 10 important non-quarterback players in the Super Bowl. That's what I've always said. Richard Graves, this is a good one. An unlikely name that may well turn out to be is Ray McCloud,
Ooh.
and not just for his special team contributions.
Yeah.
And Pete notes here, despite being the primary kick returner for the 49ers, McCloud had 12 catches in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs, but lesser-known players have had big moments in the Super Bowl before.
Yeah, special teams, 40-yard return, flip the field position. You're about to be backed up and catch the ball at your own 8-yard line. All of a sudden, you're at midfield. It does seem like every few years we have a game where somebody kind of comes out of nowhere. And Ray, too, is, third, fourth receiver at times that gets on the football field for them. We'll see. But special teams, we don't talk about it a lot for the Super Bowl and the matchup and all of that. And a lot of the times, of course, the game can come down to that just right there. We saw it last year. I mean, clutch field goal, punt return by Kadarius Toney. The punt return by Kadarius Toney was the play that set up the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl.
That's a cool thing about football.
Like
you got all these marquee players, $100 million deals, and it comes down to one play on special teams. It's almost like an afterthought.
No doubt.
John Ardell says, in this one, it'll be Spags and Nags, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy. I know it's your job to hype the game, but this one is going to be a blowout. The PPP, Purdy performance pressure, will be the Niners' downfall. First of all, it is not your job to hype the game. I mean, the game hypes itself, but even if it didn't, we don't care, right? We don't need to hype the game.
No,
it's a bad game. We'll say it's a bad game.
What, John? You sound like you think we're into some script bullshit that's out there. One of these stupid conspiracy things that's going on there.
We don't write the script. Now the script is out there. We don't write it.
No. Listen, if I thought it was going to be a blowout. And listen, I think if there were to be a blowout, I'd probably think the Chiefs would do that. But the Chiefs, they haven't been blowing anybody out. I don't think that's going to be part of this game at all, right? So that's where I don't. And hey, Spags and Nags, we know, they're special. Purdy, in this moment, I think at a base level, right? A lot of people just look at it and just go, Brock Purdy's not going to beat Patrick Mahomes, and there's some value to that thought. And Purdy has not played great the last 2 games. He was clutch at the end, and that's important. But, this is one here where, this is a different amount of pressure. This is a different type of team. And the quarterback on the other side of the ball has been in these situations a lot, and this will be the first time Brock Purdy has to deal with it.
Chris Rubio says, for the Chiefs, Rashee Rice and MVS, and that takes us perfectly, a perfect segue. Thank you, Chris Rubio, to our DraftKings most receiving yards in Super Bowl 58. So they have the odds out there.
Okay.
Who is favored to have the most receiving yards? Off the top of your head, do you have any idea who it'll be? Don't look.
Well, I already looked at the rundown.
Who's second?
I saw it.
You looked at the rundown.
Yeah, the rundown. It's on there already.
Would you have guessed it is Brandon Ayuk at plus 240? Then you got Travis Kelce. Then you have Rashee Rice, then Debo, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey after that.
Yeah.
Would you have thought? Is that how you would have the odds?
I definitely, yes, I think it is exactly that. The top 4, I think, especially. Maybe I would have gone Kittle over Debo or whatever, but part of the reason we had Ayuk on the list and where he was at number 5 is because I think what we're talking about here. It's a team that plays a lot of man-to-man, right? And he's pretty good in that department. Been the go-to guy in those areas for most of the year. And I think that will continue in this matchup. I think that's why people are there. The guy I would say, to watch out for in this one, again, would not be crazy for me to see McCaffrey be up there with game leaders in receiving. It's all going to be about to see how the Chiefs decide to guard him and how they play it. That would not be a shocking one to me. And the Valdez-Scantling one will not be a shocking one either. If you got some extra change, again, this is one where if the 49ers get a little too aggressive, it could be one of those games where we look up and go, man, Valdez-Scantling had 4 for 140, right? That's the kind of guy he is. So that would be my long shot. But I am on the Ayuk, Kelsey train as far as the top 2 on that side. Definitely would make Rashee Rice 3. And then it gets a little dicey, but my long shots would be McCaffrey and MVS.
You heard it here first. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and for Super Bowl LVIII, new customers can bet $5, win $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the app and use the promo code UNBUTTONED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
And DraftKings is in the building.
They're in the building.
They're right over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there when we're done with the podcast. You can actually see it. It's over my head. Here, I'll get my head out of the way.
And what are you going to do? Tell them to give you $1 million? What?
Yeah, I'm going to say we just read a promo. Give me $1 million. And we'll see if they do it. Hey, you know what? You ask.
Yeah.
You ask and see what they go.
Right?
You did? Did you read the I'll send them a clip. Yeah, what do I got to lose? I got nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
All right, Pete. So I don't know exactly when we started it. Where are we right now? How long have we been going? We're an hour and 10 minutes. What should we do here? We got some homies questions.
Yeah, we got to hit on a few of those, right? Okay, well, we definitely got to get to your biggest legacy thing.
We got the legacy thing.
Let's get that here first. That's
right,
most important. I'm intrigued by your list.
Okay,
I want to tell you how wrong it is. No. But no, here just my base thought, right?
Yes.
I have no thought in this, no horse in this race, or no race in this horse. But is it weird? I feel like it's the legacy thing is really big. When we know Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Purdy. But my buddy, Shanahan, right? To me, the best coach in football. I think a lot of people would say that. And yet, if he loses this, people are going to be like, well, he never wins the big game. And then, of course, if he wins it, everybody's like, oh, he's the best coach in football, right? It's weird. Andy Reid can go into this no doubt you're one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in the history of football if they win this game. You have gone to the upper level of the Hall of Fame, right? With Chuck Noll and Bill Walsh and that group there, Belichick.
Yeah.
You've get Tom Landry. You've hit another stratosphere. So that's where I think it's kind of cool. And now I hand the floor to you.
You took over my whole list. That's my whole list, basically. No, and Pete gave me this idea and gave this idea for the pod.
That's a good one.
I'm not usually a legacy because I feel like that has to kind of play out.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. This game, it's there are built-in stories already, and you can already tell and look into the future, if the 49ers win or if the Chiefs win, how this will change the narrative around some of these people. Right. So let's go 5-1 on this one. Can we do that, Pete? Is that allowed to go 5? We're going to go 5 through 1. I don't know why, just because we want to do something different here.
Because you want to be better than mine. That's right.
I want to be better than yours and people to remember this one. So, yeah, the biggest legacy potential boost.
Yeah.
So, win or loss, who gets it? And so, let me see. So, where was my – you're reordering it as we go. I was like, where were we? That's all right. So number 5 for me is the guy that you ended that conversation with, Andy Reid, for that reason, because he's taken the Eagles to the Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes and an offense that's high flying. And now if he wins one here, he wins an offense with Patrick Mahomes where the defense was actually the best part of the unit. And I've made this argument before on the pod.
Right.
It's just I know Bill Belichick has all the Super Bowls and all that, and it's going to be really hard to argue he's not the best coach of all time. But he also did it in one similar environment, right? With one quarterback, and that's been talked to death. But Andy Reid has shown the ability to take multiple different teams to different playoffs with different players. And so I think if Andy Reid can do this, man, you're right. It puts him in that conversation of perhaps the top 3 best ever to do this.
It's he goes to Vince Lombardi-ville with that one right there. Like, definitely. Yeah. I don't mean to, did I miss anybody? I think I said it right. Right? I mean, Lombardi, Shula, Landry, Knoll, Walsh, right? Then I'm going to get into Belichick, and then it would be Andy Reid. So I think it would clearly make him, like one of the 7 greatest coaches in the history of football.
So he's 5. He can get a big boost with a win here. 4 for me was Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Because I think, you're already starting to hear him in the conversation of maybe like best ever to do this, offensively at least. And so I think another win for him, and especially if he has a big game, I was like, man, this could be, what a huge year with Taylor Swift and all that, right? This could be the year of Travis Kelce, and a win in the Super Bowl kind of elevates him even more than maybe it would normally just because of all the talk around him this year.
I mean, I agree with you that he goes to another level of superstardom, right? Where I feel like he's already going there just because of the Taylor Swift thing. But you have an awesome game in the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift there, and we know all the Swifties are watching and all that around it. That's like
when people talk about
he could
tight
retire
ends,
and be like, okay, how much money do you want per commercial? He'll be able to name his price.
Yeah, when people talk about tight ends in the future, it's like Travis Kelce will be in that conversation. Not that he's not now, but close to, but I think a win here.
No, win there, and you're right. It goes into like he's definitely one of the first 2 or 3 tight ends out of your mouth, period.
Number 3 for me is Patrick Mahomes, who would give him 3 Super Bowls at the age of 28. Joining Tom Brady, Troy Aikman as the only quarterbacks to win 3 Super Bowls before their 30th birthday.
Yeah.
The reason I don't have him number 1, like he's already, his legacy, like I even think, like in a loss, right? It's not like he gets squashed. It's not like it is on the cusp of this one. It's not great for him, right?
Yeah.
It's like a couple now you've been there and you didn't win them.
Right.
But for Patrick Mahomes, I think like even playing in this game is a legacy boost, and a win is just kind of like the added
on top
to
of
it. Yeah. That's why I don't have him number 1. I have him number 3.
I get you. He's already one of the greats of all time, right? There's no doubt about that. He's already in the upper tier with like the guys we've always talked about. Brady, Manning, Favre, Marino, whatever. He's great. Elway, great of greats. They don't get any better, right? But this is like he wins, he edges closer to Brady. He loses, there'll be haters out there, and they're going, oh, he's only 2 for 2 in Super Bowls or all that crap, right? But I do agree with you. I don't think it drops like too far. It's like, okay, he's still in the upper gold tier room of the Hall of Fame.
6 straight conference championships.
I mean, come on.
Like
I don't really
ridiculous.
like how people are trying to pull down the Mahomes thing a little bit. Like you heard me talk about this when the Ravens game. I woke up that morning and people were trying to tell me if Mahomes loses and Lamar wins, their legacies are the same. And I want to be like, no, off. You're totally wrong. One guy's the man for 6 years in a row. One guy hadn't been in the playoffs in 3 years. We can't say that they're in the same just because of one game all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's not right. And there's a faction of people that don't really want to buy into the Mahomes thing, and I don't get it all the way.
Because they're bored of it, maybe, and they want to move on. But I will say, if Brock Purdy does beat Patrick Mahomes, then Brock Purdy is better than Patrick Mahomes, who I do have Brock Purdy as number 2. I do have Brock Purdy as number 2 on my list here, because I do think the result of this game impacts him.
Got to get Cam Newton off his back.
As much as any player in this game, because if you win this game, you go from Mr. Irrelevant, and that being the most interesting thing about you, to being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And I think that changes the story entirely. If you lose this game and play bad, it kind of sticks you again in the, you're Mr. Irrelevant. You're at that
Mr.
level.
Irrelevant.
You're not
good
Mahomes,
enough. You're not a superstar. Guys like Florio start writing, are they going to ask Tom Brady to come back and play?
He's already got it written. It's
right.
In the draft.
So if Purdy doesn't, it's all going to be all that. Cam's going to go, he's the 27th best player on his own team now, right? So, it's gotten a little disrespectful to Brock Purdy that way. But I don't disagree with you. I think there's more at stake here for him. Bona fide NFL, big-time starting superstar quarterback to, they lost. Can they ever win a Super Bowl with that guy? That's the conversation going to be around Brock Purdy.
So he's the highest player for me, but he's at number 2 because number 1 is your good buddy Kyle Shanahan.
I had a feeling you would go here. This is, I think, the logical thing here.
Just because of its, he falls short. There's Kevin Clark right there.
Yeah.
Almost walked into the pod here.
Damn.
Almost was invited on.
I thought he almost fell. I would rather hear that, so we could have a new video of somebody else falling.
So if you lose, it's like, you fell short with Atlanta, you fell short in the 2019 season with the 49ers, and now you did it again.
Right.
Whereas if you win, you've gotten over that. You've gotten over that hump, and now you're a Super Bowl winning coach who's been there a bunch of other times, and all of a sudden those like near misses become like positives. Because they become almost positives because like he won one, he almost won a couple more. It's just like he's always right there.
Right. It bolsters his resume. Right. But I think to your point too, like, look, we don't talk about Andy Reid's almost misses all those years in Philadelphia anymore.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, he's been there, he did it twice. Like, screw, it ain't that easy. Whatever. Shanahan's been scrutinized. I think he's been over scrutinized. Hey, made a mistake with Trey Lance. We get that. After that, there ain't many mistakes, right? The game was there to be won in the Super Bowl a few years ago. I will sit here and tell you Jimmy Garoppolo is the reason they didn't win that game, right? People might not want to hear that. At the time, we broke it down. There was plays in the third and fourth quarter where you just go, that's got to be made by the quarterback in the Super Bowl. You didn't do it. For some reason, Shanahan gets the blame for his NFL defensive head coach, Dan Quinn. Yes, congratulations, Commanders. 28-3. And somehow Shanahan's responsible for blowing the lead in that game, right? Where I know he called a pass play late in the football game. It's still the head coach's job to get on the headset and go, run the ball here, run the ball. I want to run the ball so we can kick the field goal. That's what a head coach does. That's the offensive coordinator goes, I do what I do the whole year. I just call plays to make them work. Somebody has to look at the game as a whole, right? As you heard me say before, like if the roles were reversed in that game and the Patriots blew that lead, nobody would go, Josh McDaniels, what did he do? Everybody go, what the is Bill Belichick doing? Like, that's crazy. What is he doing? How come he didn't run the ball there, right? Yeah. But for some reason, because his name is Shanahan, he got blamed for that. Does he wish he could have gone back and done it differently? I'm sure. But he was attacking like he had attacked the whole year. And they had the number 1 offense by far. They set records that year.
Very similar to the Lions this past year.
Yeah. Right? But I am with you.
Yes.
He goes a step to, hey, maybe best coach in football right there with Andy Reid, to also giving himself to, hey, can they keep this going and maybe he can become one of the best all-time coaches and add to this resume? Or it goes to, oh, Shanahan's a choker, can never win the big game. I'm with you all the way. I think that's the right number 1, man.
And the rest of the players, I think, Pete notes here, Trent Williams, 11 Pro Bowl selections. You got all these regular season and Christian McCaffrey, too. I think all the other players, it basically is dependent on what happens in the game, right, that affects it. Like they have to either come up big or whatever to really affect their legacy, where I just think the fact of a win or a loss for these other players kind of
I hear you. Like
more.
Trent Williams is going first ballot Hall of Fame no matter what. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. He's one of the greatest left tackles no matter what. Legacy's there, done, written in stone almost, right? This is like icing on the cake to him. McCaffrey is one that is, I think, willing to be in the conversation a little.
Sure.
Just because of, he wins the Super Bowl, he wins an MVP, that kind of thing. I think he gets viewed a little differently throughout. Like, whoa, running back MVP, not quarterback, do that. That brings you into a different stratosphere, but that's rare. What's the last running back MVP? Pete, don't tell us yet. Let us think about this. Because oh, man, the last running back MVP. I know I'm choking here. Hold on a second. Ooh, wow. I don't know if I can pull this. All right, so we have Terrell Davis, of course, with the Broncos back in the late 90s. Emmitt Smith was before that. Let me just think. 2000s, I don't think we had any MVPs of the Super Bowl in the 2000s. Marshall Faulk didn't get it. It was – all right. I think I'm going to go with Terrell Davis.
Wow,
It
you
is
got
Terrell
it.
Davis.
Correct.
Holy crap.
Impromptu
It's 25
quiz.
years since we've had a running back MVP of the Super Bowl.
So if that happens, that will help his legacy. I will give you that.
Okay.
That definitely will. But that's a good one to add.
to watch.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention,
Honorable
CMC.
mention. And like that would do more for this whole, the whole offseason talking about running back, their value. I do think what's helped is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft has helped running backs too, because everyone got on the Lions for how would you take the second best running back middle of the first round.
Right. Well, you see why now.
I would like to have Jahmyr Gibbs on my team.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, it's crazy. We've gone too far in devaluing the running back, right? I understand all of it around it, but again, I grew up in an era where the running back was huge. You did too. It was like, no, the running back's the guy. And you're seeing, with them and some other teams that you can be a really good football team with having the running back as the guy.
3 Ask Me Anything questions. Then we'll get to the Homies playoff predictions, see how well you guys have done, and we'll finish with Requiem for a team.
Cool.
Or with a team.
Cool.
For a team.
Okay.
Either way, however you want to go. So this one comes from Matt Bostic 94. Is there a case to suggest that both teams are slightly weaker than the last Super Bowl matchup? Chiefs offense minus Hill and had worse production this year. Niners defense not as good as 2019.
At Matt Bostic 94, I agreed with you. It's kind of something we've said here.
No.
Right?
Don't devalue the game. You're hyping up the game. Don't say both teams are weaker than they were in 2019.
It still makes for a great matchup.
Yeah.
But, I just said a few minutes ago, this 49er team's not as good as the last 4 that were in the NFC Championship game. I think they're more capable on offense because the quarterback can be trusted in more situations and has more talent versatility than Garoppolo. So that's the positive. And if you'd asked me about the 49ers back in late November, I'd go, oh, no, this team's the best. But that's not what they've been the last 6 or 7 weeks. We kind of were going through this through the pod. Their second game against the Seahawks was the last time we saw the 49ers team where we went, whoa, they're unbelievable. That was the last time. So can they recapture that? I don't know. And Matt Bostic, the same thing. The Chiefs, I hear you. The offense, certainly not the same. I mean, come on. It was average, middle-of-the-road offense almost the whole year. Now, the defense, though, I can't say the same. Spags is better, and the talent is better on the Chiefs' defense. That's where they're different than that this time around. And, of course, that's why you were just saying they're kind of a defensive team this year. Yeah. That's what they are.
And the 49ers offense is better.
It is. It is. It's better and well-rounded and has more stuff there. And again, it hasn't been playing its best, like we've said, but there is more capabilities there.
Maybe they're more even and well-rounded
I think that's what it is. There's more
2019.
versatility, especially on that offensive side of the ball.
Paul Caruso says, how do you expect the Niners defense to counter Mahomes' proficiency in zone coverage, considering they have run almost 90% zone during the season? Do you expect them to run disguises in both man and zone and then switch? And that will take us to, once again, Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS. This is Patrick Mahomes versus the blitz in the last Super Bowl. And it was no blitz, 212 yards, had an interception or 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. And when they blitzed him, when they made him make a quick decision, you got screwed. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, that's a great question by Paul Caruso. Like, this is part of the reason you've heard me allude to the 49ers having to be more aggressive on defense. And great job by you, Pete, finding a question that fits what I've kind of been saying here. And that the 49ers got to be more aggressive on that side of the ball. The Chiefs and Mahomes have proven that he can be patient, and he will just take 5 yards and dink and dunk and surgically just destroy you. You can't play zone all game long. They're going to have to blitz and at least play some more man-to-man than they like. Blitzing, I'd go, you just be real tactical there.
Yeah.
Right? You could play man-to-man and not blitz and still give the illusion of blitzing, right? So, but I do think it has to be sprinkled in there every now and then. I do. And, that's always kind of been a no-no in the Patrick Mahomes career. Don't blitz him. Don't do that. He'll make you pay, just like we showed on those stats there. But again, there's only a few ways you can beat this guy. So I think, like we've talked about in the past with great offenses and great quarterbacks, you got to be willing to maybe do some things that are outside your own comfort zone every now and then. right, to just disrupt them. And I feel like the 49ers got to do that a little bit in this one to disrupt this attack by the Chiefs right now.
If nothing else, then just to show some variety, right? Don't let them get too comfortable.
Right.
And if you start getting torn up like you did in the last Super Bowl, maybe stop doing it. That was Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS. I think that's good for Ask Me Anything. I think.
Will the Chiefs be the same?
That's
right. Here's the thing that, like, I brought up to Florio earlier that I think's interesting to watch out for.
Do this in the form of a homie question.
Okay.
Hey, this is coming from homie325. What does he ask you, Chris?
Well, like, if
hey, Chris, love the pod. That's how they always say. Hey, love the pod. Good job. Clap it up.
The Chiefs and their mentality of this game, right? I look at the 49ers, and they got to be scared. They know that they were outplayed in the last 2 games, and they still won. They got to be looking and going, wait, it's them again, the Mahomes. Oh my gosh, he doesn't lose big games, right? They're getting better. We've seemed to be getting worse. That's the 49ers mental aspect. The other side of it, though, is this. What I worry about with the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs are riding high. Now, maybe they're also like, hey, we got to go and everything's positive. But are they too high? Are they coming in this one? It's like they're not playing that good. Purdy, their defense isn't the same, right? Does that edge get taken away from the Chiefs a little bit, right? They were the road, the villain. Everything was against them. Now we're in a stadium where it's both teams got equal fans, right? It's not the same. It's not, oh, Josh Allen had a better year than you. Lamar's the MVP. That motivation's not there from Mahomes. He's confident he's better than Purdy. I can tell you that. And so is everybody else on his football team. So does that take away their edge a little bit? Or do they have the edge because they know how close they are to greatness and winning the 3rd Super Bowl? Those are just little things I think about, leading up to the game. The mental aspect and the approach of where you're at is so crucial to this one. And the Chiefs the last 2 weeks went into, whoa, we better play our best or we're going to lose, right? And there was a personal aspect, I think, for Mahomes. Is that still there in this game with the 49ers not playing their best? And they're going to look at the film and go, man, the Packers should have beat them. The Lions should have beat them. We're going to beat them, right? And then all of a sudden they come out with a new game plan and they're playing their best. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, gosh, this game's not what I thought it was going to be. Those are just things that I think about during the week.
This is going to be tough for you
in
your prediction because you started the year with Chiefs 49ers in the Super Bowl with the 49ers winning.
Right.
I'm sensing, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sensing you feel like the Chiefs have a better chance of winning this football game on Sunday. So you're in a tough spot.
You
can either stick with what you did in the preseason or switch it with the danger that you'll switch it and you'll be wrong now, but I guess you're right back then. So you could always claim that you're right at some point, either at the start of the season or now.
I do feel like I'm leaning towards Chiefs. Like, who I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the 49ers. And I love Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I hope everybody knows that. But this is a good friend that I care about. So I'm rooting for the 49ers. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried for my friend for, like, the things you said, too. Right? All the things when you said the legacy stuff. Like, just going, damn, this guy's so damn good. And here I got to defend him again and, like, talk about that and got to watch my friend get put down all the time and have to deal with that. So that's where, it's scary.
Right.
It really is. And we'll see where it goes. But it's also what makes the game awesome, and I can't wait till it gets here, right? I can't wait to watch my son, who's totally claiming he's all in on the 49ers, right? But I've told you that story before, right?
He loves Mahomes.
He's obsessed with Mahomes. The first time they played, the whole week was, oh, Dad, it's so cool. Your friends, the Shanahan, the 49ers. It's so, he knows their kids, right? Oh, it's so cool. Our buddies, our friends are in the Super Bowl. 20-10, 7 minutes left in the game. The 49ers. Kyle is going to beat Mahomes. He was so upset, right? And he's claiming he's all in on the Niners here. He got a Niners jersey for the game. But
he'll rip off in the first quarter.
If the Niners go up 10-0, I'm going to be looking at him to go, well, let me see his emotions and how he's going to handle this.
He has a Chiefs jersey on.
Yeah, right. Or he's going to be like crying in his seat. So we'll see how that goes.
Cannot wait. All right, let's finish with this. We got the homies predictions, then we have Requiem for a team. So we've said before, your homies did a great job. 1,000 entries here. So Super Bowl 58, 49% have the 49ers winning the NFC and getting here. So 50% of you were right. 500 people, 500 homies nailed the NFC
That's why my
champion.
family was like, you need to tell NBC to publicize that you picked this game before the year. And I had to tell my mom and my aunt, like, this isn't going on a limb, guys. It was the Chiefs and the 49ers. It was a pretty safe bet, actually.
So 34% had the Chiefs winning the AFC, not necessarily also with the 49ers, because 11% of you out there have the Chiefs over the 49ers in this game, including Pete. 6.6% of you have the 49ers over the Chiefs, including Chris. So it's you versus Pete
I like
in
it.
this matchup. 3 homies correctly had the Ravens and Lions. Pete says good versus evil. 3 homies had the Ravens and Lions losing on Championship Sunday. Tom Donahue.
Wow.
Jason Boister.
Impressive.
And Gentian, who could still have a perfect Final Four. He has the Chiefs over the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So Gentian could be Master Homie.
Wow. You will be Master Homie. Like, Gentian, if that proves right, you're getting a big shout out next week. All right? Like, big shout out.
Yeah.
And maybe Ahmed will pay you cash or something. Do I owe some people some cash?
I think you owe Pete 20
I owe
bucks.
Pete 20. And he's being nice.
I think that's about it.
He keeps stopping. He doesn't ask for it.
I know, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Gosh, he's that rich. He doesn't even care about 20.
Take him out for a couple drinks or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
I'll get him to forget about it.
All right, so now time to lay some teams to rest here. We have actually 3 teams that we need to lay to rest
Are
here.
You crying already?
Because I don't want to do this to my Lions. So we'll save them for last. We'll save the Lions for last. And I asked Kristen, can we do this? Do we have the Requiem music? We do.
There it is.
It works even in Vegas on Radio Row. It does travel. Vegas. Connecticut to
that
Vegas.
Internet, it is
Who
special.
Knew? So we omitted the Buffalo Bills. And so we have to make up for lost time here and do the Buffalo Bills.
One day we'll tell you why we didn't have the Buffalo Bills
20% had them in the AFC Championship game. 8% had them winning the Super Bowl, mostly from upstate New York, I'm sure. Could still happen one day. Here is the Buffalo Bills. Once again, the franchise is feeling the heft, the lack of success. They're bereft. But don't worry, they'll be back. And next time, cut them some slack by at least missing one of these wide to the left. It's like, well, can't they just miss one to the left?
Seriously, why is it always obsessed to the right?
Why does it always have to be to the right?
I hear you. And what did you say, bereft?
Bereft, yeah.
How do you spell that?
Bereft, I believe.
And what does that mean?
It's like a lack of.
Lack of.
Bereft, like none of it.
Yeah, okay.
Playoff success.
I learned one. That was a new one for me. I didn't know that one. I've heard it used before, but I don't think I ever knew the meaning of it.
Not many words that rhyme with left. You'd be surprised. Maybe now you're not surprised. How about the Baltimore Ravens? 21% of the homies had them in the AFC Championship correctly. 6.5% had them winning the Super Bowl incorrectly, unfortunately. So here we go, the Baltimore Ravens. It's a team that had a good run until the playoffs, again, were outdone. But don't dare be so whack as to call Lamar a running back. Just next time, please use him like one. Use him like a running back next time.
A little bit. Run the damn ball.
A little bit more than you did.
Yes,
in the AFC Championship game.
Gosh.
All right.
Shocking.
And finally, a tear to my eye.
Roar.
It's funny, you were talking about Kyle, and if they lose, you're going to defend them. It's like, that's the way I think about Dan Campbell. If they go for 4th down and don't get it, it's just like, God dang it. Gotta go at it with Chris again here. This sucks. All right, Lions, 4.7% had them in the NFC Championship game. 8 homies had them winning the Super Bowl. I applaud you, homies out there. We were so close. I was not one of them.
No, you weren't.
All right.
Who'd you pick? The Chargers?
I picked the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right.
I picked the Cowboys to do it. All right. Did we lose the music or no?
It did.
Uh-oh. Did I go too long there, Kristen? Oh, we're bringing it back. Okay,
there it is. Okay. There we go.
Here lie the Detroit Lions. So late. I mean, we're doing this in February. This is crazy.
Is that part of the poem?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But did not think they would take this long to die.
Get to the damn poem. Shut up.
Sorry. Our head coach is built like a brick. He speaks loudly and carries a big stick. If you admit you play soccer, Dan will shove you in a locker because in this country, we never kick. We don't do it. USA, USA, USA.
He's so biased. He left his best work for the Lions.
Yeah.
You guys never kick.
We know. Not in this country.
No.
Not in this country.
Nope. I know. No. Just go for it. Aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
I can't believe it. Yeah,
Well
we leave
done.
that for the Europeans.
That was really good.
Nothing against Europe.
That was really good one. That was probably
Thank
your
you.
best one.
I
the
felt
whole
good
year.
about that
Yeah.
one. I felt good about that
So you got
one.
one more to go. You only got one more team to bury.
That's tough.
It
you know,
is.
it's just like
2 championship caliber teams. You got to bury one of them.
you almost made it through the whole football season without dying, and right at the end,
now you're at the biggest point, and you
die.
Like, what the heck? That stinks.
well, that was fun.
It was fun.
I don't know.
So we're doing a pod Wednesday. Why don't you fly back and come back and do it?
I got
You got nothing to do.
No, I do. I got play-by-play of
What?
UMass versus St. Bonaventure basketball.
Oh my gosh!
So you'll be listening
a
to that.
podcast in the MGM sports book is
I know.
better. I mean, no disrespect to UMass and St. Bonaventure.
Next year in New Orleans. So here it is.
There
This
it
is
is.
where you are. There's Chris and Mike. You'll be in the sports book.
We'll be in the sports book.
So like live studio audience.
Live studio audience, exactly right.
If you're a homie listening to this and you're close enough to Las Vegas,
Yes,
you
that's
can
right.
actually go watch those two guys do the Joint Picks podcast.
Joint Pick podcast. We have not decided whether we're going to drink while we do the podcast yet. We're going to decide that here in the next 48 hours. But yeah, come by, check us out, hang out. We're going to take some questions from the audience. We'll be, everything. You know me. I can't help it. My mouth's too big to be quiet for too long. So 5 p.m. right in the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook. Come find us. Come watch us. Check us out. We'll have some fun. We'll talk some ball. We'll break the games down a little bit.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be a good
I
one.
wish you were going to be here.
I know.
All right.
New Orleans next year.
Next year, New Orleans. You're there for more than one day or 24 hours.
Hopefully.
All right. Ahmed's got a flight to catch tonight. He's going back on the red eye. I am going to try to take him to the steakhouse and get drunk before he goes. We'll see where that goes. We're going to do our best. Chrissy will be doing Smoky Smoky. I don't think Ahmed will be doing that.
Probably
I
not.
can't get him to do that, but we'll work on it. We're going to try. All right, everybody. You know where to find us, please. In Vegas, come check us out. Mandalay Bay Sportsbook, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Keep getting at us on social media. You'll see us all week. PFT's live at 1 p.m. Eastern every day this week. You'll see me and Florio. Ahmed, you the man. Thanks for flying out here to Vegas to hang out with me. You are the best. Seriously.
Thanks,
Kick
Chris.
more field goals next time. That's it. Peace out. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, 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 thanks for watching, homies. I appreciate it, as always. Super Bowl 58 is around the corner. That's right. Vegas, baby. Vegas, baby. We'll be out there all week, all right? Hit subscribe to get all your coverage as we head to Vegas. We have all the game breakdowns, predictions. We got a laundry list of awesome guests throughout the week, right, on Radio Row, straight from the Super Bowl. Tune in and find us. Again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. You the man. Peace out, homies. See you at the Super Bowl. Vegas, baby.